What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Sports to the Wire. For those of you who are actually new to the show, I am your host, Rashid White, my boy, Berg Burrell, co-host.
What's going on, guys? Always a pleasure.
All right, as everybody can actually see on the screen there, the title, Frank Vogel on the hot seat amid the Lakers' struggles there. And they are currently sitting in the 8th place. And Jeannie Buss, oh boy, Barrick, she is not happy about this.
No, she's not.
Palinka's not. He says, hey, I didn't come no goddamn general manager to be looking at no damn 8th place seed. You know, give up the agent lifestyle over here to become an 8th seed team. But then, you know, who constructed the roster, man? Barry, take us off on this, man. What the hell's going on?
You already know Palinka constructed the roster. Basically, obviously came from Miss Jeannie Buss herself, who basically fought her brother in court for full, complete control of the Lakers. By the way, all right. So that's how dysfunctional this situation is. But yeah, Frank Vogel has now come under the hot seat. Very simple, because of the simple fact that this team is not performing well defensively. They're 26th in the NBA in total defense. That is not a Frank Vogel-like defense. Frank Vogel's been basically known as a defensive-minded coach, and the team's not performing well on defense. So now, this is where we are. You're going to come at Mr. Vogel because you're not playing good defense. But look at the team you assembled. This team is old. And then, you got players around the league like Kuzma and Caruso who are playing well for their respective ball clubs. They could have been doing the very same thing for the Lakers. You could have had a younger team. And from what I also understand now, you're going to go out there and try to recruit players from the D League now. So it's just, I don't get where the end game is, but this team can play better if you had a better team assembled. You have to have younger players. You can't just go with a bunch of 30-year-olds.
Younger players that's actually going to play hard. Anthony, when he's actually on the floor, now if you're the opposing coach though, Barrick, what are you going to do? You're just going to attack Melo on off defense, right? Just he's guarding someone, attack him.
Melo's been playing well too.
Like he never was really a great defender to begin with, but now you're talking about he's in the latter stages of his career. These guys, you bring them in not for the regular season. You bring them in for May and June in a sense, though, because these are guys that's been all-stars.
Yeah.
They can't give you 40 something minutes a game. They can give you a good 20 something minutes. Just like I was arguing with somebody on the Brooklyn Nets Facebook page. Blake Griffin is sitting. I said, listen, Blake is brought in for the playoffs. The young guys are supposed to get you to the regular season. They can play hard. A lot of them won't be affected by back-to-backs. And then there's chemistry issues. What you think, Derek, on LeBron and Westbrook over here, man? Westbrook is not an off-the-ball player. Go ahead. What do you actually think about that, man?
Well, to your point, logically, there's no consistency on this team, because when you look at it, Rashid, this situation is bad because players on this Laker team has missed a combined 95 games due to injuries. 95 games due to injuries. Okay? With LeBron missing at least 12 to 13 of them. And possibly more moving forward. There's no way to tell how good this team can be. And it's unfair to sit back and say we're going to fire Vogel because this team is underperforming on defense. You have a patchwork team. AD's playing out of place. He don't know when to shoot and when to go into the paint. And he can't play well in the paint anyway offensively. He wants to be the guy shooting the rock from the outside. Westbrook doesn't know what a high percentage play is. He's always shooting the rock and taking the ball to the basket. Carmelo has been a few gem in there. He's been performing well. But defensively is where the brunt of the problem and the blame has been going, because Vogel was brought in there as a defensive-minded coach. That's where we're seeing these things right now. How are you going to have a cohesive unit when guys are not even on the floor? So this is where our problem with the Lakers are.
This article comes from CBS over here. It says NBA coach in hot seat. So Luke Walton fired. Yeah, we were too tired to even do that video right there, man. Frank
Mr.
Vogel,
Luke Walton.
yeah, I mean, Steven Silas could be the next to go. And listen, he is a defensive-minded coach. Listen, as you see with Steve Kerr, right? He had no players. He didn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. Didn't make the playoffs a couple of years ago. Now he has players now, and look, they're actually the number one seed in the West right now. And
Right.
It's just that you don't have defensive-minded players here. Russell Westbrook is not a great defender. Anthony Davis is not. I don't think he's a good on-the-ball defender. I think he's a great off-the-ball defender where he can actually rotate, and let's say if somebody's man get beat, he can come and block somebody from behind. I mean, that he's actually really good at.
Right.
But you don't really have any really great on-the-ball defenders. LeBron is your only great on-the-ball defender, and you can't ask him to do that and then really carry this roster right here. You can't do that.
Well, that's the thing too, and you're right. But the way things are going right now, Frank Vogel really hasn't gotten much support from Jeannie Buss. And guess who else has not supported him? LeBron James. LeBron James has not come out and say word for word that I'm supporting the head coach. You just extended him a 1-year extension through the 22-23 season. You just gave him more money. You just gave him the idea that he'll be around for another year. But you know what? You shouldn't expect Vogel to go anywhere anytime soon anyway. Because what we say off camera, even if you go get a new coach, still the same players on the team. Still the same players on the team.
They got Dwane Casey from the Detroit Pistons switching gear. He's on the hot seat. I mean, it's a rebuilding situation. I don't know what more do they actually really want over here. You're talking and Steven Silas for the Houston Rockets. I mean, listen, you got rid of James Harden.
I like Steven Silas. I think they should keep him. You got to put a team together and watch him coach. It's the same thing in LA. Frank Vogel's running for a reason, but you have to have the team fully healthy, and you have to have the players necessary to run the system to sit there and say, okay, now we can evaluate the coach. You can't evaluate the coach, whether it's in Houston or LA, if you don't have the players necessary to perform. I mean, it doesn't make a logical sense. Now you want to fire this coach, bring someone else in, same thing in Houston, and you get the same players there. I mean, what good is that going to do? Okay,
right.
I mean, it's not what I'm talking.
Basically, what the CBS article is saying is that the Los Angeles Lakers is just not a patient franchise. They burned 3 full-time coaches, and even their 4th, Frank Vogel, has won a championship, the Mickey Mouse championship there.
Yeah, I call that.
The franchise hasn't exactly gone out of its way to express confidence in them. Yeah. But,
well, that's the bottom line. But yeah, that's probably a good way of looking at patience. Is not a virtue in LA. But they're going to have to be a lot smarter, and they got to be a lot more patient with this because you assembled this whole team.
Yeah,
you had to know that they were going to have a hard time staying on the floor every night.
Don't tell me LeBron doesn't have any input in this roster. Like he's like really one of the most highly coveted players in the NBA. I mean, teams were just really actually just like, oh, we have to get LeBron. Even if it's like you can get him for like 30 minutes a game, he's definitely a plus for your team. And he doesn't have no input on this roster right here at all. I mean, he says nothing.
I think he did. Carmelo was a close friend of his. He's over there. Westbrook was somebody that LeBron endorsed. These players are on this team because of his closeness and relationship with these guys. AD's over there for the very same reason. So, yeah, I would say about 3 or 4 players on that team, that 3 of which we just mentioned, are close with LeBron in one way or another, and that's why they're on that team. So, yeah, LeBron's had some input. He walks into Jeannie Buss's office and say, I want. Okay, LeBron, we're going to go get you. So what if he goes out and say, I want Dame Lillard?
Yeah, but you have to actually have something that the Trailblazers want.
You do. You have AD. Get rid of AD.
Nah.
I know they're not going to do it. I'm just joking around.
Yeah, I know. There's like 17 players I would take before AD. I mean, AD just...
I'm just saying, you have to... If we wake up tomorrow morning and it's breaking news that the Lakers are looking and seeking an opportunity to trade for Dame Lillard, who would the Lakers be able to offer the Portland Trailblazers along with draft picks? And now draft picks may not have the same level of worthness, I guess, if that's the better word to say.
It's called lottery for a reason. Like playing a regular lottery.
Yeah.
The positive view of actually winning is really slim.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have to offer Portland something to get rid of one of their best players that they ever had in that organization, outside of Clyde Drexler and players like that. So I mean, so then you just say, okay, who we offer? That's the whole thing. You look at this roster, and I'm not going to trade Dame for Westbrook. I'm not going to trade. And Carmelo was already in Portland. You understand what I'm saying? So he's not even in Portland no more. So, I mean, who do you give? The only reason why I'm bringing that point up, Rasheed, is very simple. You look at this roster the way it was assembled, you really can't offer anybody anything. Okay? That's just the way it is right now.
It's not enough, man. He's just not he's a number 3. He's not even a number 2. He's a number 3.
Yeah, man. This is crazy.
You need another high percentage one-on-one player that can put pressure on the defense and make players better. But Anthony Davis doesn't really give you that. I mean, he gets the basketball, triple threats, makes a move. I mean, when you hold it that long for more than 5-6 seconds, you just give the defense a chance to collapse on you, and then just.
But you got to understand one thing. AD's huh?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying real quick. AD's a 25-10 player. Go figure.
Yeah, but with no impact. No impact. You can make nobody else better. You gotta. As a superstar player, you have to elevate the other pieces, man. And LeBron does that. CP3 does that. KD does that. James Harden does that. Steph Curry, to a degree, does that.
So Steph Curry is really doing things above Steph Curry. I mean, he's still shooting that rock, but these players are responding around him. I mean, they're just doing their thing, and CP3 has not stepped off. So we're bringing older players up, and look what they're doing for their respective ball clubs.
I mean, just turning a C player into a B player, and then turning a B player into an A player, and Anthony Davis does neither. I mean, he just doesn't do anything. He can get you some points. That's about it. Just look at the plus minuses with him. It's always like damn near borderline, or he's in the negative.
I will say this, yeah, exactly. But I'll say this real quick before we go. I think it's probably quick to say, and I'm probably going to, kind of go on a limb on this one. But I think it's quick to say that maybe LeBron is done. Maybe this whole situation was just a bad move, a bad mistake, and no one wants to admit it.
I would have went to Portland. I mean, he can. And forget about all of the movie projects and all that nonsense. You're not a good actor. You don't have the charisma for that. I mean, you don't. You don't have the charisma for Hollywood. You don't have it. You don't. Eddie Murphy personality and LeBron's body. I'm like, all right, cool. Go ahead and do some movies, but you just don't have the charisma for Hollywood, dude. You
no.
don't.
And also Westbrook is out there because he owns 5 car dealerships out there in LA. There's no mistake Westbrook's out there either. So that's where we are, man. It's just it is what it is with that, man. And at the end of the day, I'll say this real quick. I hope the Lakers straighten things out, because the league is always great when the Lakers are good. And most any other team. So hopefully they get straightened out. But Vogel should not be fired over lackluster defensive performances. They should try to figure out what's best and get this team healthy. Then you can figure out where to go from there.
Shooters. Patty Mills was out there. Give that man the whole.
You had Caruso. You had Caruso last year.
Yeah. And then you can get Caruso. You need shooters, not just one shooter. Shooters, plural. And you get the shooters, not a steak dinner. You get them the whole cow alive. You say, hey, rip into that shit.
No doubt.
We'll wrap the video up. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, certainly share this video.
That's right there.
The universe certainly shares back with you. Peace.
It always does. All right, peace, guys.